So did you know that the Core Ultra 9 285K, and in fact most of the Core Ultra 9S CPUs have different power profiles? So if you went into the BIOS, you can choose different modes like base, performance, extreme. What are the actual differences? Which one should you get? Some of the models don't have some of them. So what is going on? And what are the actual real world performance in some of the applications? Because you might be surprised about the results. Licensing Windows is cheap and easy with whokeys.com, and if you use the code TN20, you get an extra discount. Complete the purchase, copy the key, and paste it to the activation settings. And you're all done. Also check out their Microsoft Office 19 license and use the same code TN20 for the extra discount. Check out whokeys.com in the video description below. If you enjoy videos like these, hit that subscribe button. That bell icon is your friend. And if you don't enjoy videos like these, hit that dislike button twice. Now, this is not a review of the 285K or the Core Ultra S series. If you haven't seen them, they're on the channel if you want to learn more about those CPUs. This in particular is about the different performance profiles. Now, I said that there are three, but the thing is, not all three, first of all, aren't supported on all of the CPUs. For example, if you look at the Core Ultra 5 245K, then that one only has base and performance profile, not the extreme profile. But because they are K CPUs, you can also run them unlocked or unlimited power draw, which basically pulls even more power. Now, as far as I know, the extreme profile is only for i9 or Ultra 9. I haven't tested the Ultra 7 265K, so I'm not sure. It might be available there as well. But for now, I can only tell you about these two. If someone knows this, please let me know in the comment section below. I took the Core Ultra 9 and did the tests on base, performance, extreme, and then unlimited to see the actual performance difference. Firstly, you got to look at the different profiles and what power limits have been attached to them. The base profile has a PL2 of 177 and PL1 of 125, which means that in boost performances, let's say you do something very mildly boosting that all the cores have to boost, the whole CPU can pull up to 177 watts, but then after 57 seconds, it kind of pulls down to that 125 watts and then does that rest of the time. So for example, if you look at Cinebench R24, you can see at first it boosts to 177 watts and then it drops down to 125 watts. Then performance profile, if you see that, you can see that the PL1 and PL2 are 250 watts, which means that it's gonna pull 250 watts at all times because the PL1 and PL2 are matched. So boost is 250 and it's going to continue doing that for the rest of the Cinebench R24 test if you're running very, CPU intensive workloads. Then moving on to the extreme profile, you have now PL1 limit as 295, which is the boost, where it can boost to 295 watts, but then pulls it back down to 250 watts after a little while. And then finally, there is the unlimited power settings, where you can just max everything out and let the motherboard decide how much power it can push through the CPU with these clock speeds. And there I saw that the CPU is actually maxing out around 280 watts power draw, not any more than that. And then when looking at the power draw in all of these different power profiles, after going past the PL2 limit and then to PL1, we can see that the base model is pulling about 125 watts, performance and extreme 253-ish watts, and then the unlimited around 280 watts. But what about the actual results in single core and multi-core workloads? First, the Cinebench R24, and we can see that the single core on base model is 134. Interestingly, in performance mode, it is 142. In extreme, I can find it in 148, and unlimited, when no limits are attached, is actually a little bit slower in the multi-core performance compared to the extreme. The extreme seems about 10% faster in the single core score. Now, the multi-core score, that's where the bigger difference comes in, because the base is only pulling 125 watts, whereas the performance is 250 watts, but that only gives you extra 12% performance, but literally double the power draw. So if you're looking for very efficient CPU and very efficient results, the base model might be the one for you. Then the Extreme takes it a little bit further and is about 20% faster than the base model. That is when we can boost to 295 watts and then going down to 250. Interestingly, when unlimited power is applied, for some reason, maybe because it's sometimes overboosting and then under, it's not as stable as the Extreme base profile from Intel, the motherboard is not doing as good of a job, and we're only about 17% faster than the base model, which is about 3% slower than the Extreme profile. I did a 10-minute test as well, just to see if longer duration is any different. And you can see that the base model does fall back even more because the 125 watts will last longer, and the PL1 limit doesn't matter as much because the boost is such a small fraction of the 10-minute test. And then the performance profile is 13% faster, Extreme profile about 22% faster, and then the unlimited about 19.5% faster. Moving on to Photoshop, because now there's two separate creative workflows I want to test. Photoshop, where there's a lot of single core kind of usage, but then also sometimes multi-threaded certain things when you're putting together and exporting, it uses that as well. But because we're not maxing out the PL1 limit, I want to see between these different profiles how different is the result. And then we're going to do the same in video editing, where we have a little bit more multi-threaded workflows and different exporting and encoding and so on. In Photoshop, interestingly, the performance mode is about 2.6% slower than the base mode. As you can see, not that big of a difference. The Extreme mode is within 1% of the base model, and the unlimited mode is the fastest here, but still about 2.3% faster. So if you are a photographer who uses a lot of Photoshop, for example, then having your CPU in Extreme or performance mode doesn't actually make that much sense, because you're not getting that much power, but you're using a lot of electricity. In Premiere Pro, things might go a little bit differently. The performance mode is about 2 to 3% faster than the base model. It's not so different, but things start to get a little bit different when we go to the Extreme profile. The Extreme profile is 36% faster than the base model, and there's some interesting things happening there. Mostly the long GOP score is massively different, and I don't know if when we're on the base and performance score, the actual iGPU is really kicking in, or there's some driver instability on the lower profiles. But as you can see, the long GOP score, that's like ridiculous amount different. I had to double check it because there's literally feels like there's one missing from the beginning of this benchmark, because the rest of them are around 140, whereas the base and performance are around 40. So the 100 is missing. But no, I did the test 3-4 times. I'm getting the same result. Extreme and unlimited performance gets a lot better long GOP scores. The rest of the scores are within a couple of percent. Raw obviously is a little bit better as well, as you can see there in Extreme and unlimited. About 6 to 7 or 8%, but that's when we're actually utilizing a lot of the cores and it needs to boost a little bit longer than the base and performance scores. And let's say there was a driver issue with the long GOP score, we're looking probably around 3 to 7% performance increase in Extreme and unlimited one. As you can see, the unlimited score really doesn't gain any more than the Extreme profile, maybe 1-2%, which seems like it's not really worth it. In conclusion then, which performance profile should you be actually using? Now, people who use their PC for lightly threaded tasks, you should probably put it on base profile and save yourself some electricity. But then people who do maybe a little bit more video editing and multi-threaded tasks, I think the Extreme profile is a very good option. The performance one is kind of just in the middle there, where it kind of falls one way or the other way. Not that different from the Extreme. I guess when you go in air cooling and you want to just cool down the 250 watts, it might be there. Maybe 295 is too much, but to me the performance one kind of doesn't make any sense. The Extreme one is the one that I would go for, but the performance one is the only one available for your Ultra 5, so that's what I would go with there. I would say running your CPU unlimited or unlocked like we used to do doesn't seem that much different actually, and we're just wasting a lot of power and energy, especially in creative workflows. It's not worth pulling 284 watts extra up to 40-30 watts more just because we get extra 1 to 2% performance. That is not worth it. Bear in mind that 30 watts extra is what like any of these Mac Minis pull at full utilization, which is mind-boggling results. I would say stay away from the unlimited profile. The surprising thing is that seeing the PL1 and PL2 limit 125 and 177 in creative workflows, actually the base profile isn't that big of a difference. So if you do want to build a very, very compact little PC and you want to put it on base profile, actually that's completely doable and you're not going to lose that much performance. But here's another thing. I wish Intel gave us, with Microsoft, an option to change the power profiles like we could with a laptop or Mac. You know, you've got the low power, automatic, and then high power, which would be so nice to think, okay, I'm on low power mode, I'm just editing photos, for example, and then I'm rendering, put it on high power and let it pull more power. That would be a really, really cool addition to do. I know we've got the Windows power profiles, but it's not so easy to do. It would be nice, it was very close by, easy click to do. Why don't we do it? I don't know. If you found it helpful, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and there's some build guides for best bang for buck creator PCs in the video description below. Pick the budget that's closest to you and build yourself a PC. And you might be surprised what I'm recommending over there, but these are the best bang for buck. Go check them out. Thanks guys for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.